You don't need experience to become a digital nomad, and I'm going to show you how. I've just finished a stint of 4 years as a digital nomad, and I've lost count of how many times people ask me how I do it. And I promise you, it's really not as hard as it seems. I honestly believe if that I can do it, then pretty much anybody else can. So I've put together 6 simple steps using everything I've learned over the years to help you start yourself on your digital nomad journey. So step 1, we've got to skill you up. Now, if you really have zero experience, first I'm going to have to get you to open your mind a little bit more, because believe it or not, everybody has at least some experience. You just might not know it yet. And being a digital nomad is not just some end goal job, it's not a specific title, blah blah blah, it's a lifestyle. So you'll be surprised to know that no matter what you've done in your life, it's probably going to help you on this next step of your journey. So don't worry. Little confidence boost for you there. Let's get off on an optimistic note. Like for example, when I became a digital nomad, I had basically never ever worked for a corporate before. I had had a short stint as a teacher, maybe a year and a half at a college. But apart from that, I only had work experience at school. And then as soon as I graduated, I just became a freelancer, kind of through indecision and being scared of the corporate world. And then I just pretty much self-taught everything that got me to the point where I was able to, set sail on a digital nomad journey. And that's all using free resources, my own intuition, and stuff that's all freely available on the internet. So that's why I truly believe that almost anybody can do this if they put their mind to it, and if that's what you truly want. We are literally living in the golden age of opportunity now, thanks to the internet and social media. So the first port of call would be to kind of think of a digital skill that you would enjoy learning. And I say enjoy because it's going to make things a whole lot easier, as you're going to be more motivated to put in the work. Because newsflash, this isn't just going to happen overnight, although it could probably happen quicker than you're anticipating. But you're going to need that initial enjoyment and motivation to get you through the times where maybe you're not making any money, or maybe you're not making as much money as you would wish, because those nights will come. And there's just so many options out there right now. Like, I'm a copywriter by trade, but I've kind of pivoted more into editing and SEO, as I find it way more scalable. But thanks to AI, it's not as attractive as an industry as it used to be. So I'm also upskilling myself in stuff like video and video editing, as I predict them to be more desirable skills in the future. So find something like that, but there's absolutely loads out there. If you can't think of any, go on freelancer websites like Fiverr, Upwork. They've got all sorts, from very technical like coding to stuff that most people will be able to do, like virtual assistant stuff. Obviously some people are going to do it better than others, but the access level is lower than maybe coding. So just have a look out there, find something that resonates with you, and then say, right, I'm going to dedicate the future month to getting up to speed in this skill. And the only real requirement is that it needs to be a skill that you can do from absolutely anywhere, as ultimately you need something that's going to give you the freedom to remote work and become a digital nomad. And if you're thinking, oh, but I'll never be good enough, I don't have the natural talent, blah blah blah, then honestly, the bar in a lot of these industries is a lot lower than what you might think, especially if you are a native English speaker. Thanks to the privilege there, you have a huge advantage with stuff like writing, editing, speaking roles if you do a voiceover, I don't know. And then also just going out there and using all the free resources, the free learning resources available. I'll put some useful links in the video description for where you can get these kind of courses. Even by doing them, you are putting yourself ahead of like 99% of other people. Because like I say, anyone can do this, and trust me, a lot of people are attempting this. But if you can just be 1% better than them, you're going to be able to take that first leap and put yourself in a very strong position to make this a lifestyle. My degree is in business, but I have spent my entire career pretty much being a copywriter and editor without any formal qualification in that. And I've worked at high level jobs, low level jobs, stuff that's allowed me to travel the world on a very good full-time salary. So you can do that too in the digital skill you want to pursue. Just start off with a beginner's course and see if it's the right fit for you. And if it is, then crack on. And a bit of a theme for this vlog is that we're going to learn by doing. None of this analysis paralysis rubbish. For me personally, being a digital nomad, it takes a lot of risk and leap of faith. You know, you can't wait for the flawless, bulletproof situation where you've got perfect amount of money, perfect country, perfect job, blah, blah, blah. Because if you wait for that day, it will never come. And then you get to the point where you feel like you're too old to do this. So you're going to have to trust me a little bit here and understand that you're going to learn along the way. And that's okay. That's the fun of it. And I think if you want to pursue the digital nomad lifestyle, you're probably not too risk averse. So I think we're going to be okay in that front. So once you've maybe got one beginner's course under your belt, you're going to set up your freelancing profile on websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and you're going to start applying. Now it might feel too soon, but trust me, it isn't. There's a lot of low level hanging fruit out there, and that is going to be the best way to learn. And I have learned on a lot of projects that I was definitely underqualified for, but by doing them, you learn along the way and you start developing your portfolio nice and early, which is ultimately going to be your biggest asset when pursuing this journey. So set up your profile and start applying. And a lot of people I meet are always complaining like, I don't know how you get work on Upwork, Fiverr, it's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And granted, it is very difficult. But one of the biggest learning curves for me was when I switched my niche in copywriting and my page, blew up in opportunity. I'll tell you a bit more about the details so you can do it for yourself. But initially, my profile was all about SEO content writing. It was quite general. And I used to apply for job after job after job, and I'd maybe get like a 5% response rate. And then when I would, they'd be paying me absolute peanuts. But then, based on my own interests, I decided to specialize in YouTube script writing, something I had no experience in, but I knew there was a demand out there and it'd be fun for me. So I changed my entire profile to look for them types of clients, and then lo and behold, people started approaching me. I was getting like at least 60% acceptance rates on my proposals, getting jobs left, right, centre, good paying ones as well. So if you think the issue is the competition's too high, then try and find a niche where the competition is less. You can do this by checking the number of proposals per job. It shows all them analytics on these sites. So just be smart about it. Try and find something where maybe the competition is lower, niche down, because at this point you just really want to get some experience and start building your portfolio. And you might have to take some low paying jobs to begin with, maybe one or two, but don't undersell yourself too much because these people will take advantage of you if you do that. And a great thing that I've started doing is if you're really stuck on a project and you're like, I'm so underqualified, I don't know what to do, I'm scared, I don't want to ask them, blah, 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 all the anxiety starts creeping in. Use resources like ChatGPT and just tell them absolutely everything about the job and get them to talk you through it step by step. And you will learn. It's like the perfect teacher. So use the AI tools, use everything you have at your disposal, and opt for the free ones too, because again, we want to really not be spending any money on this, no investment. As the less money we spend, the sooner you're going to be able to be in a position where you can afford to travel full time. So step number 3 is going to be about really building your portfolio now. So contact anyone you know who might work in this industry. Get all the freelancing websites going, set up the profiles, apply to as many jobs as you can. And an amazing way to supplement this is start developing a personal brand by using social media. Now, which one you choose will depend on your preference and which kind of content format you prefer and you think you'll do best at. Obviously, you've got Twitter, which is really good for copywriters and a lot of industries, but obviously the text format is good for writing, editing and whatnot. And just get your name out there, start spreading out in your niche, connecting with people who could help you down the line, and start to try and grow your profiles and your reach, as that is a great way to get gigs too, especially high paying ones. So you really need to start developing your personal brand. And what I specifically mean by that is establishing yourself as an expert in that industry, which you can do by posting tweets, solving problems, making TikToks with guides, things like that. LinkedIn is obviously an obvious one as well, the professional network. Believe it or not, I don't actually use that. My stack is more like Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, because I just prefer and enjoy them platforms. And again, back to enjoyment. If you don't enjoy this, you're going to find it hard to stay consistent. And staying consistent is what it's really about this stage, especially when you haven't got a job yet. But when you get your first job, that's when things are going to start getting easier. Obviously, you want to do a good job, get some good reviews, try and get referrals, build on that, improve, keep upskilling with your courses and networking. Now, once you've got the ball rolling with that, it's all about just continuing it and scaling it where possible, dialing stuff in and just making it really kind of reliable as you can for the future. But as you're doing that in the background, we will move on to step 4, where we're going to start location planning. And this might feel a bit too soon, especially if you've only just got a couple of projects, but it can be really good motivation to keep you going. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you can take the leap and move to some of these countries with a lot less money than what you might think. When I search around these digital nomad platforms, people like asking how much money do I need to be to start as a digital nomad, and I just think it's just so unrealistic. You know, they're like, you need 4,000 or 5,000 USD a month, and I just think, I'm not sure if I've ever earned that at any point, and I've been a digital nomad quite comfortably for 4 years now. So I just think we need to, lower the bar a little bit, because that is just not feasible for a lot of people, especially people coming from countries with weaker currencies. Very, very difficult in that scenario, and it's going to deter these people from ever taking the risks or trying in the first place, which is not a good thing. But on the topic of currencies, the beauty of some of these platforms like Fiverr and Upwork is that a lot of the time you can get paid in USD and sterling, these strong currencies, because a lot of the clients on there are from these countries. And to be able to work with them, English is required a lot of the times, but you don't have to be fluent, just enough to get by. So maybe if your English is not so strong, maybe working on some business English classes, I don't know. But aside from that too, what I've noticed a lot on copywriting jobs recently is a lot of people are looking for people who can write in other languages, like Polish, Turkish, loads of stuff like that. So if you speak another language, you're bilingual, then again, you are off to a very good start. And if you look hard enough, there will be jobs that you are very much qualified for. So it can be used in your favour. So start doing the research onto what country you think you will start with. For example, Vietnam is one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest country in the world, and it's such a hotspot for digital nomads. You could probably live there for as little as £800 a month, about 1,000 USD, if you really budgeted and planned for that. So it's good to do this research early, because it's going to give you the motivation to keep going as you'll start to see it's more attainable than you first thought. For example, you might get your first writing job and they're only offering to pay you 2 cents per word, and you think, I'm never going to be a digital nomad with this kind of wage. But then if you think you write 10,000 words per week, which is a common cadence in this kind of industry, you're already looking at 200 USD per week, 800 a month. So you are already well within the realm of maybe starting your digital nomad journey. And like I said earlier, it's about taking a leap of faith sometimes. I've spent times as a digital nomad where I was very comfortable with my money, I was earning a good salary, I was living in a country with low cost of living. But on the flip side, I've also gone through times where I had almost no money and I still managed to maintain life as a digital nomad. And what that looks like in reality is maybe instead of staying in an Airbnb, you're staying in a hostel dorm for a little while whilst you figure out some additional income. Instead of eating out every meal, you are cooking all the time. And maybe even you start doing workaways where you get to live places for free in exchange for work, volunteer at hostels, stuff like that. Honestly, if you put your mind to it, you can continue a digital nomad journey on a very low budget. And to some people might be watching this like, if you have to do that, then maybe you shouldn't be a digital nomad. But no, some people want to be traveling the world, and I believe this can be a very accessible way to do that. And it's beautiful. And one thing I realized is that once you are on the journey, it is far easier to continue and strengthen that, because you start to meet people who are like-minded, who can teach you things you can't find on the internet. People who've been digital nomads for 20 years. They don't make YouTube videos sharing all the value. So when you meet them in person, they can really guide you in that way. And they'll be working in the same industries too. You'll make friends with them in the hostels. They might give you a new gig. All this stuff happens. I've seen it myself. It's happened to me. So if I was to start my digital nomad journey again, I would take the leap as soon as it was humanly possible, because I know once I was out there, once I was living it, enjoying it, being surrounded by it, then I would have a new level of motivation to scale it, to make it better for myself, and also the networking and the opportunities that would arise would be invaluable, because yeah, you need to surround yourself by the people that you want to be like in life. It's cliche, but it's true. But yeah, obviously I'm speaking from a huge place of privilege right now, as I am British, I have a strong passport and a strong currency. But everyone will at some point face some sort of immigration troubles, some more than others. So do make sure you do your research. Can you get a visa for this country? Are you allowed to work there? Tax implications, all this stuff is very important. Always be respectful. Like, I've literally been in the airport in immigration before, and a guy came up to me and he was like, do we need a visa for this country? And I just thought that absolutely blew my mind, that he didn't know before actually flying there. So don't be like that guy. We didn't, thankfully. But yeah, that was wild. So yeah, once you've started to get a bit of money coming in, you have a first location or locations in mind, what you're gonna need to do now as step 5 is kind of refine your routine and start really preparing to take the leap. And what that looks like is making sure your money is consistent as possible, how you can scale it for the future, having a solid routine, because this can be lost a lot of the time, like waking up at a certain time, making sure you meet your deadlines and whatnot, because what you really don't want is, as soon as you start traveling and things get a little crazy, overstimulated, and things start to fall apart. So you really need to lock in your routine and your plans moving forward. Included in that is minimizing financial implications. So really try and get your finances in as strong a position as possible. Now that doesn't mean tens of thousands of savings, because not everybody can do that. I know myself, I don't do that. But what it might look like is, if you're planning to go traveling for a few years as a nomad, maybe sell some possessions that you don't need, reinvest them into your business and whatnot. Start to be smart about it, liquidize, blah, 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 all that boring stuff, to the point where you're like, okay, even if something bad happens along the way, I've got a bit of a cushion that can help me out in emergencies, and I can actually afford rent, food and whatnot in the first place, as yeah, that helps. And yeah, the final step, step 6, you're gonna be on the journey, I would hope, by this point. Book your flight, get to the country, and now it's just a case of scaling and enjoying yourself, you know? Like, try to grow your business to more than what you need is always the best avenue to prepare for the future. Network along the way, try and diversify your income. Like me, for example, copywriting is going down the gutter right now, so I'm diversifying into stuff like video editing. So that's something you should do, as well as what you want to ultimately do is create a bit of a safety net, so your digital nomad journey doesn't just come unstuck one day and you have to travel back to your country where it rains every day and you have to eat beans on toast for dinner every night. Yeah, nobody wants that. And obviously what I've talked about today isn't the only way to become a digital nomad. This is just kind of what I did and I see as the most accessible. But maybe you're already in a full-time job and you think, Alex, I don't want to quit and start my own business and become a freelancer. Well, maybe you can negotiate with your boss that you could get a hybrid approach or a fully remote job. Unless it's Elon Musk, then probably not. But yeah, that is possible too, and that's a different beast entirely, but it is possible. So maybe that's a more suitable avenue for you, depending on what job you do. I mean, not all jobs are able to be remote, but that could work too. There's many ways. And if I were to summarize the entire video and what I would give in the most simplest advice to someone who asks me how to become a digital nomad, is just open your mind, you know? Like, be open to trying new skills. Be open to going to countries you might not have wanted to, but you're willing to give it a chance. Be open to talk to people who might be able to help you down the line, and be open to follow an unconventional path, because that's what happens sometimes. And that's what's happened with me. I can't lie, I've not enjoyed every step of the digital nomad journey, but it's still the best thing I ever did. And I put that down to the fact that I was open to whatever came my way, and I had a dream and I was going to pursue it one way or the other. So if you have that mentality in check, I'm sure you will be fine. But if not, and you still feel like you don't stand a chance, then feel free to drop me a comment, any questions. I'd be happy to answer those and try and help people, because like I said, the best thing I ever did, if people want to do it, I want to help them be able to do that, because yeah, it really is life changing. And final advice, just be kind to yourself, you know, this is no small feat. Some of these videos advertising you can do it in 30 days, 60 days, which I don't think is impossible, but it's not always the way it goes, and everyone's path is different. So do be kind to yourself. If it doesn't happen overnight, that's okay. Just keep going. And when the journey does start, again, look after your mental health. It's a big thing. Maybe you're leaving your family for the first time, your country for the first time, your friends for the first time. It can be a lot. Like I said, I've struggled a lot at times on my digital nomad journey. So it's important to be kind to yourself, ground yourself where possible, reconnect with loved ones, maybe go home. Don't be ashamed to feel homesick and whatnot. There's no right way to do this. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and it was helpful to at least someone. I'm gonna go and enjoy one of the rare sunny days in England now. Peace and love. Bye bye.